Alright. See what this is all about, shall we? Make sure.
Are you still powdering your balls? You know you don't need to, right? There's no need
Powdering
for
your
messy powders
balls?
or nasty ointments.
Alright, let's
That's
get
the
out
thing
of here.
With the recent news of Amazon's New World being
Okay.
delayed until 2021 and many hungry MMO fans being disappointed
go,
by
peeps.
this news, I decided that today I want to talk about the upcoming MMORPG that I personally believe to be the most promising, Ashes of Creation. Before we jump into it though, this
What did I
video
come
has no
into?
sponsor
What's up,
and took
Bacana?
me a crazy amount of time to make, both with research, fact-checking and editing. So if you'd like
Let's
to
see.
support my work for free, this game has an affiliate program that everyone who makes an account has access to. My link to
kinda
this
cool.
can be found in the description below.
An affiliate
and all
program.
sign-ups to Ashes of Creation before September receive a small in-game statue for your house to commemorate our struggles
A
with
house, huh?
COVID-19.
Interesting.
So for those of you that have never heard of the game before, what is Ashes of Creation?
Yes, tell me.
Ashes of Creation is a Western-made sandpark MMORPG that's focused
Sandpark. Both theme park and sandbox. Okay.
on a strong mix of both PvP and PvE content. This game was initially kickstarted 3 years ago but was already fully funded to completion via private investment from the game's creative director Stephen Sharif. Unlike many of the Eastern MMOs that have
Interesting.
had Western releases over the past few years, Ashes
I wonder
of
what they mean
Creation
when they
has
say
consistently
Western,
said from
like-
day one that there will be no pay to win in this game. Due to this, the game will
Oh,
operate with a no
looks
box
dope.
cost subscription fee business
15
model
sub fee, no
with
box
a
cost, no pay to
cosmetic only
win.
cash shop. The thing that makes Ashes of Creation the MMORPG that I'm personally the most excited
Ooh.
for is
Yo,
the
those look
sheer
dope!
scope of the project. This game seems to be combining all the best aspects
Yo!
from all the top MMOs over the
Those
past
little
10
those
years,
flying mouse
and
look dope.
combining it into one game, with all of that being tied together by the game's most unique
The node
feature,
system is the
its
core of the
node
game.
system.
Okay. I was like,
Throughout the world in
land
Ashes
plots?
of Creation, there's points of interest on the map called nodes. These nodes are basically areas that can progress to different stages of civilizational development as players kill monsters, quest, gather, and adventure within that node's area of influence. Starting out day
Okay.
one when the game first launches, the world will be pretty empty. But let's say you and a group of friends all decide to kill mobs and gather in a certain area. Over time you'll be contributing XP to that area's node, and an expedition will appear with quests. As more players are drawn to that area, it will level up into an encampment with more quests, more NPCs, and more opportunity. After that, the node
interesting.
levels up into a village, town, city, and finally a giant sprawling metropolis.
Yeah, but what happens if you run into a scenario where a player like hates a certain area of the map? Does it just never advance? And if it never advances, then like what's the point of actually going there if you'll never get quests and stuff? That's gonna be interesting to see. There's been a lot of areas like if I don't like, I just never go there. So how will they get XP and level up?
With more opportunity, world events and quests appearing at each
Interesting.
stage of development.
If
Now,
it
that's
requires
a very simplified explanation of the Ashes
Player
of Creation
input in order
node
to level up
system,
the world?
but on top
That's
of that
interesting.
there's also a lot of variables within this system. For example, at launch there will be 103 different possible node locations,
That's a lot.
and the location of that
That's a lot.
node dictates the quests and world events triggered upon development. At this point you're probably thinking, well, what happens when every node reaches its final stage? Wouldn't that become boring? Well, due to how the system's designed, this isn't possible. In leveling up one node, you lock out the possibility for adjacent nodes to grow to
Leveling
the
up one
same
node
size.
locks out others.
To change this and de-level a node so that adjacent nodes can progress, players will need to participate in a PvP node siege to destroy a city, for example, so the town node near to it has room to grow and different content can then be unlocked.
That's
The way this
interesting.
system is designed
Okay.
intends for long-term player-driven replayability, where
Okay.
each server will have a different history of development and unlocked content.
That
No
is
two
kind of
servers
interesting.
will be the same. An
'Cause it's driven
MMORPG
completely
with
by
a true
player decision.
ever-changing
Okay.
world. When it comes
That's
to node
interesting.
aesthetics, there will also be a lot of diversity here too, as the node will take on the architectural appearance of the race
Aesthetic
that
of the race that
contributed
contributes
the
the
most
most.
XP to its development. So let's say a
Research-driven
guild of
server
orcs
sounds
went to
dope.
an
Yeah, that's
area
interesting.
and contributed the most XP to a node.
Bro, I want to
building
look at these mounts. They look like shadow bluish hippogriffs. Like these are
up to
dope.
a town. You've then got a town with an orcish aesthetic. Maybe a guild of dwarves wanted to explore a node in the mountains. They could eventually have their own dwarven city in the mountains. The aesthetic of the node
is in
changes
4K.
at
I
every
sure
level
hope
of
so.
development based on the race that contributes the most XP to the node. On top of all this,
Kinda
each
cool.
node in the world will be assigned one of 4 possible node types, with each having unique benefits. You've got divine, economic, militaristic, and scientific node types. Advancing a scientific node over an
Let's
economic
go back to
node,
that.
for example, will give different
back.
building options for different building options. For an economic node, for example, will give different node types.
Okay, let's see. So divine nodes, faith and skill equipment augment focuses. NPCs are priests, economic trade and merchant focused. Combat and class training focused. Artisan and construction focuses. Those are the different types of node. But like, so when you level it up, do you get to decide what kind of node you level it into? Like if it's nothing, if the node starts at level 0 or level 1, do you know what type of node it is before you start leveling it up? Did they say that?
Advancing a scientific node over an economic node, for example, will give different building options for players to manage in the node, such as libraries, colleges, and artisan buildings.
But if it's like, who decides to choose the node type? Like, if all the players on the server are contributing to a specific node to level it up, who's the one who decides to choose the node? That's unclear.
Whereas if they leveled up an economic node, they could build markets, stock exchanges, and trade-focused
Node
buildings. Each node,
Okay.
upon hitting the village stage of development, will have a 1-week cooldown before node elections begin. In this, players can try to become the mayor of the node.
Node elections. Okay. So that means, I guess, the people, whoever visit this node, I guess, will then be able to vote on what kind of node they want to actually build. Okay, fine.
As a mayor, you get to allocate resources, set the tax
To
rate,
taxes?
and initiate quests to advance the node, as well as choose building projects contained within that node. The way the mayoral election system is designed is different for each node type. For scientific nodes, it's a popularity contest where you vote another player
vote
in.
for a mayor.
For economic nodes, it goes
What,
to
so
the
the
highest
mayor
bidder.
decides
For divine nodes, the player with the
what
most
the node is?
node-related service quests completed will become the mayor, and militaristic node mayors will be decided via a last-man-standing battle royale type minigame where players interface through a champion rather than their own character.
That's kinda cool.
Obviously, bad
I like
mayors
that.
will be a thing that exists in this game, so every month the election process will happen again so that other players have the chance to challenge for mayor. Other than its node system,
Okay.
Ashes of Creation is also aiming to have a diverse range of content to appeal to pretty much every type of MMORPG player. Let's start with some of the PvP content that will be present in this game. PvP content in Ashes consists of open world flagging,
Tax rate of
caravan
100%.
PvP,
Yeah.
duels, battlegrounds,
Yeah, aka a bad
castle
mayor.
sieges, node sieges, arenas, and guild wars. But before all of you PvE players get scared off at the thought of open world PvP, you'll be happy to know that this game has anti-grief
Go
mechanics
back.
in the. You'll be happy before all of open with the PvP player. Other than its game, where players interface through a champion rather than their own character. Obviously, bad mayors will be a thing that exists in this game.
Wait, whoa. Okay, I say, hold on, wait. I can't see because the stupid window's in the way.
A minigame where players interface through a champion rather than their own character. Obviously, bad mayors will be a thing.
Tax rate for Wednesday has been set to 100%. What? Why would anybody give the player the option to do that? That's
That exist in this game.
What?
So every month the election process will happen again so that other players have the
Yeah, I
chance
did.
to challenge for mayor. Other than its node system, Ashes of Creation is also aiming to have a diverse range of content to appeal to pretty much every type of MMORPG player. Let's start with some of the PvP content that will be present in this game. PvP content in Ashes consists of open world flagging, caravan PvP, duels, battlegrounds,
Caravan PvP.
castle sieges, node sieges, arenas, and guild wars. But before all of you
I wonder what a
PvE
caravan
players get scared off
siege
at
is.
the thought of open world PvP, you'll be happy to know that this game has anti-grief mechanics in the form of its corruption system. When it comes to corruption, players have 3 states: green, non-combatant,
Okay.
purple, combatant, red, corrupted. I've displayed an image on screen that shows how this system works, but from the point of view of a non-combatant PvE player minding their own business, if another player comes up to you
Okay. Wait. So non-combatant attacks non-combatant and then becomes combatant. Non-combatant attacks becomes combatant. Okay, perhaps I'll explain this more.
You and
This
kills
is
you,
interesting.
they will become corrupted and receive ever-growing penalties the more innocent players they decide to kill.
Oh,
Eventually,
okay,
corrupted
I
players
get
can
it.
drop their
Okay.
items, which can be looted by other players. They'll also lose more experience upon death, and also feel dampening in PvP, so they become weaker. Corruption gained is also greater based on the level disparity, so a high level randomly killing a new low level player really isn't worth it. Additionally,
you just
the
get
game
more
will have a
corruption?
bounty system where players
actually
with
kinda
high
funny.
corruption score will
I like
appear
that.
on the map
That's
for
good.
bounty hunters to track down and kill
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
rewards.
I like that. That's
and
good.
NPC
I
guards
like it.
will also attack corrupted players on site, limiting their access to services within nodes.
Dope.
The Caravan
like that.
PvP
That's
system in
good.
Ashes is designed to bring risk versus reward gameplay. Due to storage being
Yeah, this is what I'm
localized
interested
to
in
each
here.
node and different areas of the map having easier or harder access to certain resources, players will need to transport goods between nodes via caravans.
That's actually kind of cool. And that was my question before. It's like, what the hell is the caravan PvP? So you can transfer resources to specific nodes if it's harder to get that kind of resource. What if you get camped? I guess then that's where the corruption comes in? Question
When
mark?
a caravan is spawned, it will create a moving
Then players who are just
open
camping
world
caravan
PvP
systems,
zone.
they'll just
When
like...
players approach the caravan, they'll
eventually?
be given 3 options: attack, defend, or ignore. Caravans can transport goods from more than
That's
one player
dope,
at a
dude.
time, and I can
Whoa!
imagine this system alone
The
will
hell
bring
is
about
that
the
thing?
existence of mercenary guilds who attack caravans
Looks
or
like a
defend
freaking
them when paid
anteater.
by other players. Castle Sieges will be a monthly event in which guilds can fight in a 250 vs 250 battle to take
It's a
control of
different
one of the
POV.
5 castles in the world.
What's with the POV
Node
change?
Sieges are different to castle sieges and are the catalyst for change in the world. Node sieges can last up to 2 hours. If a node is successfully defended, it can't be attacked for a certain period of time in relation to the level of that node. A village, for example, can't be attacked for another
If the
20
node
days.
survives, there will be a cooldown before the node can be sieged again. Oh, sick. Okay, cool. Sick. I like it. That's dope.
Whilst a metropolis cannot be attacked for 50 days if successfully defended.
That's dope.
Additionally, once a node siege is declared, there's a period of time where many services in the node are shut down in preparation for war.
202
For a village
250
siege,
versus
there's
250?
2 days notice.
Yeah, that's a little
and
that's a
for
little nutty.
metropolis, there's 5 days
I've always
notice.
hated though big
These node
combat
sieges
things like
can
that.
only be declared within a
And
certain
the reason why I
period.
don't like big combat things like that is because you as an individual person, like you don't feel your contribution has that much of an effect. So, for instance, let's just take WoW for example. I never really cared for Battlegrounds that much because you as an individual person, you never really have that much impact on a game because they're just so big. Unless you have like 3, 4, 5, or even 6 people rolling with you. It's like, how do you as an individual make a difference when there's just so much player, you know, activity going on?
Of the
I don't know.
server's prime
know
time
if I
to
like
give
that.
everyone a chance to attend. If a node siege is successful, the node is reset to 0.
But I
and
get it.
Players with resources stored in that node will
If there's like smaller objectives within the 250 versus 250, like for instance, if you're going on a castle siege, like there's different parts of the castle that you have to siege or whatever, and it's not just one massive battle until, oh yeah, the castle dies. If you have to like storm a wall or something and you got to bring people to like kill this wall, and there's like another area that you got to kill, and if you like break off into certain groups, maybe it could actually be
some
fun
of
for
those
like one player
resources
if he's
and
by
real
himself.
space player
Maybe.
housing will also be